Number 10. Natalie Portman and Benjamin Millepied. After 11 years of marriage, it was recently announced that the Thor Love and Thunder star Natalie Portman and her husband Benjamin Millepied will be separating following a very public and messy affair on Ben's part. Ben, who is definitely named after a kid's cartoon, can't remember which one, was spotted with a 25-year-old climate activist while Portman was off doing something. Portman was initially pretty mad, but then she tried to work things out with Ben in an attempt to save their marriage, but the affair put a massive strain on the relationship and it doesn't look like it's going to be working out. The couple had met on the set of the 2009 drama Black Swan, with Ben acting as a scriptwriter for the project. While the affair had shaken their relationship, when asked about the issues by US Weekly, Ben said that he shared her pain and he was actually working on a new script that's on its way to her desk. Now, while they may still be working together professionally, emotionally speaking, these two, I'm pretty sure they've checked out. Number 9. Jeremy Allen White and Addison Timlin. Jeremy made a big move in the acting world after his FX comedy The Bear premiered on Disney Plus and other streaming services this past year, but he actually has been making people laugh, cry, and scream since we were introduced to him as Lip Gallagher in the hit TV series Shameless, a show that I definitely haven't watched 15 times in a row. Wouldn't do that. He met his future wife Addison on set of a film called After School in 2008, and they were close friends for like 12 years before they became an official item in 2019. The relationship was mainly taking place behind the scenes, apart from a few Instagram posts here and there, but Jeremy's love for his wife has been well known since his acceptance speech at the 2023 Golden Globes, where he won the award for Best Actor in a Musical or Comedy TV Series. Unfortunately, roughly a few months ago, Addison filed for a divorce from Jeremy with little to no explanation. 3 days following the divorce announcement, she posted a pic with herself and her daughter on Instagram with the caption saying "single mom," which was news to Jeremy, who was under the impression that they would be, continuing to work together as co-parents. While their relationship may have ended in a mess, there might be a new one on the horizon because Jeremy has been spotted with Wizards of Waverly Place alumni Selena Gomez. So Alex Russo and Lip Gallagher would make very cute babies together. Number 8. Joe Jonas and Sophie Turner. Joe and Sophie got together back in 2016 after they'd been set up by mutual friends, something they had been trying to do for a long time. They got together and instantly fell in love, getting married just over a year after getting together. Sophie admitted to Rolling Stones in 2019 that she was hesitant at first. Joe was this big musician and she was a big TV and film star, meaning that at times they would be on opposite ends of the world. Eventually she warmed up and got together with Joe officially. The split comes out of nowhere. For the most part, their relationship seemed to be stable on the outside. They were never apart or involved in a cheating scandal, which is surprising considering Joe's lack of discretion in the past. There were never any strange rumors or photos, they were just this happy couple. But as of September 1st, Joe Jonas has filed for a divorce from Sophie, with the only current information being that Joe is claiming the relationship to be irretrievably broken. There haven't been a ton of specific details, but rumors are running rampant. Something pretty serious must have gone on in a very short amount of time, because only hours before the announcement, Joe posted a photo of himself to Instagram with his wedding ring on. So despite the minimal amount of tea spilt, there are a ton of reasons that divorce is messy. Number 7. Ariana Grande and Ethan Slater. So, bear with me here. This divorce is actually caused by Ariana Grande, and there's actually a relationship that came out of it, so strap in. The pop star and Broadway giant are set to star in a film adaptation of the Broadway hit Wicked, following the story of the Wicked Witch before the events of The Wizard of Oz. Ariana Grande plays Glinda the Good, and Slater is Bach, the main love interest of the Wicked Witch. If you don't know who these people are, Ariana Grande was Nickelodeon, and she's a big musician now, and Ethan Slater played SpongeBob on Broadway. It's ironic that Ariana is the good witch though, as she appears to have stolen another woman's man. Ethan was married to a lady named Lily J since 2018, and they even welcomed their first child together in 2022. Apparently Ariana and Ethan fell in love on set, and they've started dating behind the scenes. However, an on-set insider shared that information to Slater's wife, who was furious. Gee, who would have guessed? While the couple have agreed to raise their child as co-parents, Ethan eventually filed for a divorce in July of this year. Number 6. Britney Spears and Sam Asghari. Britney and Sam's marriage is in shambles. This couple got together back in 2016, and they seemed to be great on the outside. As Britney was getting better overall, her relationship with Sam started getting more and more serious. Sam was right there by her side through thick and thin, and eventually they tied the knot in 2022, which is why it was so devastating for fans to learn that the couple was calling it quits only a couple of of months ago. The words used on the actual divorce paper says irreconcilable differences, which for Hollywood people tends to mean nothing good. Sam was the one who officially filed for the divorce, demanding that Britney pay spousal support and attorney fees. Since this news is so recent, there's not a ton of updates on how this couple are doing or how deep into the process of the divorce they are. Britney once again made headlines in the media, something that she hasn't really done since, the early 2010s, and her divorce was covered constantly. So far, the internet has been weighing their decisions in ever since, and it's just getting worse and worse. Number 5, Joe Alwyn and Taylor Swift. Joe Alwyn made his big screen debut playing the titular character in Ang Lee's 2016 drama Billy Lynn's Long Halftime Walk. The film tells the story of Billy, a private in the military who returns home and is praised as a hero, but through a series of flashbacks, we learn what really happened during his time away from home. The movie received critical acclaim and Joe's career was kicked off. He co-starred in several other projects since then, but made paparazzi's front page after rumors of his supposed cheating on Taylor Swift. Joe and Taylor spent 6 years together before calling it quits, with this being one of her longest relationships to date. That we have to wonder what split them up. Well, rumor has it that they broke up because Joe was cheating on Taylor with one of his co-stars of The Brutalist, Emma Laird. Emma posted a photo on Instagram with the caption "Moments in March" and a little heart emoji, and while there were plenty of pictures in the album, there was one that stuck out, and it was Joe appearing to hop on a little electric scooter with no Taylor in sight and no explanation as to why they were together. The reaction from Swifties was so strong that Emma had to turn off her comments. Since news broke of the split between Alwyn and Swift, Emma has been spotted comforting Joe, only adding more fuel to that rumor. Number 4, Lily Reinhart and Cole Sprouse. Cole Sprouse and Lily met on the set of Riverdale in 2016 while filming the pilot episode of the series that finally ended after being the most confusing show of all time. I had to stop after 3 seasons because they started talking about D&D and then Stranger Things, and I don't know, man, it's weird. Anyway, they fell in love playing Jughead and Betty, having a relationship that lasted almost 7 years. In 2020, things started to go downhill. They were plagued by cheating rumors, and things had apparently become a little bit heavy behind the scenes, according to Cole. Towards the end of that year, they confirmed the split online. However, this year, Cole spoke out about the breakup while having a cancer stick in the middle of an interview, claiming he didn't want to get too deep into the topic, but that it was a mutual decision, man. Lily began receiving violent and threatening messages following the interview as well as the end of the show. This past week, the rumors arose once more, and fans are becoming online true detectives once more to uncover the truth. Just imagine that's like a little glass, my eye gets bigger. Number 3, Ashton Kutcher and Demi Moore. What's up with Ashton Kutcher these days? Does he still do Punk'd? In case, Punk'd doesn't unlock anything for you, let's talk about Ashton's past for a moment. Ashton rose to fame following his successful role in the hit sitcom That 70s Show, as well as his time on MTV on the prank series Punk'd. He married fellow actor Demi Moore in 2005 and stayed married for like 8 years. The split seemed to come out of nowhere, but there was some speculation that Ashton ended things to be with his current wife, Mila Kunis. That speculation was revealed to be complete bull poo-poo though, or was it? In Demi's book titled Inside Out, she revealed that the cause of the split was due to Ashton's infidelity and not really specifying it. Apparently, he cheated on her multiple times and pressured her into including a third party in their escapades, wishing to, open their marriage to new company. When Ashton found out about the news becoming public, he was royally upset. According to Ashton, he had finally gotten to a place where the media was leaving him and his family alone, and the next day after the news broke, paparazzi were waiting for Ashton at his kid's school. Not only did his cheating ruin his relationship with Demi, but it kinda ruined his relationship with his family as well. So I hope Mila was worth it. Number 2, Drake Bell and Janet von Schmeling. Drake was a small screen sweetheart in the early 2000s, being in several Nickelodeon shows like Drake and Josh and The Amanda Bynes Show. He was on track to being a megastar in the world of Hollywood, but unfortunately he is just one of those child stars who took a turn for the worst. He starred in a ton of low-budget flicks over the years, but his status as a celebrity was gone by the time he got to 2021, where all of his bad habits culminated in the final nail being driven into his coffin. Drake was sentenced to 2 years of probation and 200 hours of community service after it was revealed that he had been grooming a fan for years. So if you see him on the side of the street picking up trash, it's probably why. Recently, it was announced that his wife Janet was going to be filing for a divorce from Drake after a situation where he was missing for 5 days on a supposed bender doing nobody knows what to nobody knows who. And on the actual paperwork, Vaughn has cited irreconcilable differences and has requested legal and physical custody of the younglings. In April of this year, Drake was reported missing only to turn up 5 days later. According to Janet, his mental health has slowly been declining in the last few years, but his toxic traits towards his partners is nothing new, as his ex Melissa Langefeld accused him of being verbally manipulative and physically violent when they were together. Number 1. Reese Witherspoon and Jim Toth. Over the years, Reese made quite the name for herself, starring in films like Legally Blonde, Walk the Line, Hot Pursuit. She's well known for being a comedic actor able to tap into her serious side when the time comes for it. Along for the ride right up till 2023 was Jim Toth. Jim has starred in a handful of projects but mainly acts as a producer creating sitcoms like According to Jim. The couple first got together in 2011 and then quickly tied the knot. Over the last 12 years, there's never been a sign that this couple was heading for disaster, but that might be due in part to them not getting out much. Reese has continued to act fairly steadily over the years, but for some reason has been appearing less and less in public. Perhaps there was something going on behind the scenes. The announcement came only 2 days before they were going to celebrate their 12-year anniversary. According to a statement released by both of them, the decision was mutual, saying they enjoyed their time with each other, but things just don't work out sometimes. Number 10. The 7-year separation. Kicking off the list is of course the cheating rumors and dating scandals that have followed this couple throughout their entire relationship. Since day one, people have been convinced that they're in an open relationship, or maybe that they've been cheating on each other on and off the entire time, but it turns out that those rumors were kinda true. Ahead of the release of her new book, Worthy, Jada sat down with People magazine to share some inside information. The most revealing was that herself and Will Smith have actually been separated for 7 years now. Despite appearing to be a happy couple on the outside, the truth was they decided to go their separate ways, emotionally speaking, a long time ago. Since 2016, Jada and Will have been living in the same house and appearing on red carpets together, but behind the scenes they actually just don't do anything together. Considering the massive size of Will's house, it's pretty easy to imagine Jada choosing her own section and just like decorating it to her liking. She continued to say that she felt pressured into being with Will in the first place because it was mostly his idea to get together. 2 kids and 1 marriage later, it would appear that Jada finally came to her senses and just decided to separate from Will entirely. Number 9. Dating Chris Rock. Ahead of the release of her new book, Worthy, Jada has revealed a ton of information that were once thought to be just rumors. Now, while we've already covered the fact that she's been separated from Will for like 7 years, another fun piece of information was revealed. I don't know if fun's the right word to use, maybe unique. Anyway, it was revealed that before Chris Rock was struck across the face by Will Smith live at the Oscars, Chris had actually asked Jada Pinkett Smith out on a date. Now, I'm sure that when you hear that, you must think, oh, he asked her out before they even met. Nope, that actually took place in 2016 at the height of the first round of separation rumors, which, again, turned out to just be so true. At the time, Chris either had some inside information, or maybe his belief, or he just believes everything he's read online. According to Jada, Chris reached out to see if he could, get her attention. He called and said that he would love to take her out, which she was like, why? He clarified and told Jada that he was under the impression that herself and Will were getting a divorce. Like, right, that's what he just heard. Well, when she revealed that this wasn't the case, Chris was so embarrassed and just started apologizing over and over. Though they eventually moved past the moment, it might explain why Will Smith was so aggressive with Rock at the Oscars. There's no way he's unaware of that situation. Number 8. Divorce. Jada revealed that despite her and Will being separated for 7 years, that getting a legitimate divorce was out of the question. While they haven't been a proper couple for a very long time, Jada has always been adamant that she would never file the paperwork to properly separate from Will for good. Over the years, they have been at each other's side, and even after the secret separation, they were seen together as if nothing had happened. While they presented a united front, conversations later on the matter suggested that the two had actually spoken about it at one point or another. During Will's appearance on Jada's now cancelled show, Red Table Talk, the topic of divorce came up once again. Will said that he'd never get a divorce because it was something that he had already done and he tried to avoid it if possible. Jada laughed and said, yeah, that's not an option. But when she had Toni Braxton on as a guest, she claimed that she simply just wasn't mature enough to get divorced, which made it sound like that she was down to leave Will, but she just couldn't at that time. Well, considering the amount of media attention that this news is getting, something tells me she might be filing that paperwork sooner than we think. Number 7. Interview evidence. 6. When Jada revealed the truth about her separation from Will, she claimed that by the time they reached 2016, they had become exhausted with trying to make things work. The news of their separation was like a mild shock at best, because Super Sleuth fans claimed to have proof that Will and Jada had been separated. The proof was in the interviews. The first clip to be submitted as evidence was Will and Jada's Red Table Talk interaction, in which she admitted to the entanglement with musician August Alsina, but she simultaneously admitted to a brief separation between her and Will. In the conversation, she literally says that herself and Will had basically broken up, but instead of just outright admitting the information right then and there, she decided to hold on to it for a better time. Many Jada fans have commented on the resurfaced clip, saying that Will looks drained, clearly dealing with a ton mentally speaking. Jada is a calculated woman. Why reveal all this juicy gossip so early in her life, right? She was probably ready to tell the world what happened as soon as it did, but held on to the information as a way to give her a boost in the future. Is it really a surprise that she's releasing all this information right when she's about to publish a book? Huh? Give them a scoop so they have to buy it and get more information. Good move, but a manipulative one at that. Number 6. That's what she said. As we all know by now, Will Smith doesn't like Chris Rock putting his wife's name in his mouth. After the altercation that took place at the Oscars in 2022, a ton of people were convinced that it was Jada who told Will Smith to do it. Will was laughing moments before taking the stage and doing his thing. According to Jada, she actually had zero part in that altercation and thought the entire thing was a skit right up until she saw Will walking back towards his seat. The fury in this man's eyes could not be faked. She revealed that she actually didn't mind the G.I. Jane joke all that much. Sure, she didn't appreciate it, but according to her, she in no way told Will Smith to go strike her Madagascar co-star. The first thing that she had apparently said to him when he sat down was simply, "Are you okay?" Something in Will snapped. He went up to accept his award for Best Actor and later apologized for his actions. Despite the apology, he was banned from attending the Oscars for 10 years, and so far, he has not spoken to Chris Rock face to face. Speaking of the Oscars, number 5. Oscars confusion. Now that all this information is being leaked into the world by Jada herself, there's been one major question still lingering on everybody's mind. If she hasn't been with Will for over 7 years, why did he feel that it was necessary to defend her and strike Chris Rock at the Oscars? Many fans have flooded social media with questions and concerns surrounding this incident. If you don't remember, in 2022, Chris Rock made fun of Jada being bald, and Will smacked him for that. That's it. If he had been attending Chris Rock's stand-up special, who knows what would have happened, but I'm gonna talk about that in a couple minutes. Despite Will claiming that playing the role of King Richard had left him in this odd mental state, it really was no excuse for his outburst, especially if he had not been romantically involved with Jada in years. Main point being made by some is that despite Will and Jada separating, they remained close friends. In that instance, Will was defending his very good friend, which is still no excuse for causing Marty the Zebra pain. Man, I love Madagascar. Will has claimed that he tried to reach out to Chris following the Oscars, but that he was told Chris just isn't ready to talk. Either that, or Chris was ready, but he knew he'd fly off the handle the moment that he heard Will's voice. Number 4. Jaden and Willow. Of course, rumors had been flying around for years that Willow and Jaden Smith basically raised themselves. Their upbringing was a little different. Jaden was on track to being an actor after starring in the 2008 remake of Karate Kid alongside Jackie Chan, the greatest man on earth, but later shifted his focus to a more entrepreneurial side of things, developing his own fashion brand, which he's actually been pretty successful in doing. And his sister Willow opted to stick with her creative roots and made quite the name for herself in the hip-hop world. Now, unfortunately, their behavior comes from a place of neglect. During an episode of Red Table Talk, Jaden confronted his parents, calling out their terrible parenting skills. With both being so busy in their careers and now we know separated, there was never anybody home to actually take care of them. Jaden and Willow recount spending most of their childhood with various nannies and teachers, only seeing their parents between projects or if they got dragged along to work with them. It turns out they were well aware of this whole separation thing going on from the very beginning. Will and Jada must have just been waiting until the kids were financially independent and out of the house to finally call it quits. Something that they probably just should have done a lot sooner. Number 3. The roasting of Will and Jada. Chris Rock delivered the first ever live stand-up special on Netflix this year. Chris Rock's Selective Outrage was a title made in reference to Will Smith. His special was filled with a lot of jokes, but he closed closed out the night with a little roast of Will and Jada. He started by saying that he had nothing to do with the slap and that Will had selective outrage. Chris didn't have any entanglements, so why was Will so mad at him? But he then repeatedly called Will Smith a B-word and then moved on to roast Jada. He said that he was shocked when she attempted to have him removed as the host of the Oscars back in 2016 during the whole Oscars so white controversy, begging the question, how can Jada boycott something that she wasn't even invited to? The roasts were devastating and Chris Rock is most certainly the winner in that battle. Now, this has nothing to do with Will and Jada's marriage. I just figured if you made it this far into the video, you could use a little chuckle. Number 2, Chris and Will were friends. Before the infamous 2022 altercation at the Oscars, Chris Rock and Will Smith had actually been on pretty good speaking terms. Now, they weren't best friends by any means, but they certainly weren't mortal enemies prepared to strike each other down at the mention of one of their wives. They first met on the set of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air back in its heyday when Rock played two characters, an actor named Maurice Perry and his sister Jasmine. They bumped into each other over the years, but Chris eventually starred alongside Jada in an animated series that I've been referencing called Madagascar. Fun fact, I didn't even know that she was in that movie growing up because I did not read the credits. I was too cool for that jazz. Between Madagascar 1 and the Oscars in 2022, things just were neutral. There was no bad juju, but then suddenly at the behest of his wife Jada, he felt it was necessary to stand up and defend her even though they weren't even together. So what's that about? And at number 1, PR stunt. As previously mentioned, it's no surprise that Jada has shared her juicy gossip only days before her new book is set to hit shelves, but many speculate that her entire life is just one big PR stunt. Over the years, she has been in the media for a lot of things, whether it's boycotting the Oscars, getting fired from her own talk show, or just the general nonsense that comes from this lady. She's a force in Hollywood and not a good one. This latest stunt is nothing more than a PR tactic and a way to continue her media presence. She just revealed some of the secrets in her book. When the thing actually comes out, who knows what else there will be in store. You probably will, once we do. Number 10, lying about her partying. Soon after news of their divorce went viral, photos and videos came out showing Sophie downing shots in the UK while Joe was away on tour and presumably looking after their kids. That seems to be the main story that's going around. The idea that Sophie is a big no-no juice indulger and essentially left their family for long periods of time without a care in the world for Joe or their daughters. But some people are now saying that Joe is doing everything in his power to try and destroy her reputation and paint her as a bad mom. Because there's a TikTok video that's been floating around from 2020 where he admitted that his wife was the homebody in the relationship. For many years now, Sophie has talked about enjoying her downtime at home. During 2020, she did an interview with Conan O'Brien where she talked about how much she loved staying home, how the entire situation was actually really right up her alley. She said that she was loving it, that she was an introvert, a homebody, and if she could stay home all day, and she would. So it was great for her. She also admitted that out of the two of them, Joe is the real social butterfly. She said that the struggle to lock him down and have him just spend time with her was hard. It was a tough battle. It was like being imprisoned, but it was great for her. So that kind of contradicts the person that Joe is painting her out to be. Number 9, keeping the receipts. In the latest court documents, Sophie detailed all the places the kids have been staying over the past year. And judging from that list, before they relocated to England, they did not stay in one place for more than like 4 weeks. This also means that Sophie gave birth to their second child and then spent her first year postpartum constantly moving around from one rental home to the next, which sounds terrible. The document has now gone viral on Twitter, and it seems like everybody has their own opinion on it. One person wrote, "This whole thing makes me angry. I can't believe he had the gall to file in Florida without telling her and then lie about it." He absolutely did lie because she wouldn't have filed it in the UK in the first place if she hadn't known. Keeping those babies away from their home and mom is nasty. So people are picking up on what is happening, and the more that we find out about their marriage, the worse things seem to get. What's really funny about this whole thing is that it just proves Sophie's point about how the family needs stability. All of that moving around sounds horrible, but thankfully she was able to take note of every single place they stayed. Number 8, they already made an arrangement. Sophie Turner was born in the United Kingdom in Northampton. Ever since she made it big in the States, it's been her dream to return to the UK and live there permanently and raise her family. Joe is completely against that idea. From the time that they were together right up until this past week, the idea of moving to another side of the planet with his wife was just not something something that Joe wanted to do. Sophie has spoken about the issue several times over the years, but she never really got into specifics. Well, it turns out that while the Jonas Brothers are world famous, Joe is of course more comfortable on his home turf, which is the exact same feeling that Sophie has. He tore down any hope she had of living with him and their child, even though they had already made an agreement that it was going to happen, so it looks like she decided to just do it on her own instead. Number 7. Joe is a gold digger. According to an inside source close to the couple, Joe was beyond excited when he started dating Sophie, and it might be because of her money. Now, according to the source, one of the main reasons that Joe is so smitten with his ex-man wife is because she's able to provide for herself and for him. Apparently, Sophie does not let Joe pay for things most of the time, something that the musician is not used to. When speaking about his wife in interviews, Joe just kind of backed up the gold digger theory, as the first and foremost thing he mentions is just how much he loves her independence. She buys him stuff all the time, so hey, he loves it. While many praised Sophie for her efforts, a lot of people started pointing out the red flag and expressing their discomfort knowing that Joe Jonas didn't pay the bill when he was out with his lady. Maybe that's why they're getting a divorce. She kept all the receipts and he couldn't pay the bill. Number 6. Not getting Game of Thrones. Sophie rose to mainstream stardom when she was just 13, playing the role of Sansa Stark on Game of Thrones. HBO found a gem when they casted Sophie, and thanks to her performance and that of her incredible co-stars, the show received 8 seasons and launched her career. One person who did not get that show at all was Joe Jonas. Early in their relationship, Sophie was nervous about losing Joe if they were to spend extended time away from each other. Her concerns were not shared by Joe, as he was pretty oblivious to exactly how popular this series she was in was. Joe has had mixed opinions on the show, revisiting it from time to time, but as he got closer with Sophie, he became more and more uncomfortable watching the show. I personally never watched more than a few episodes of Game of Thrones, but in those few episodes, I saw, well, a lot of stuff. You know, bits and bobs that usually aren't seen on TV. Then there is, of course, the graphic scenes of lovemaking and, violence, so I can imagine why Joe might not have loved the show. Game of Thrones is Sophie's baby, though, so when Joe talks about the show, you can see her visibly disappointed and angry in what he is saying. Man, if you want to roast Game of Thrones, do it online like everybody else does. Number 5. The PDA. Despite crying out to the public to just leave them alone, Sophie and Joe were known for their aggressive PDA. Whether it's getting cozy at an awards show or at a Kings of Leon concert or during a shopping trip, they've done a couple of things together. Speaking of shopping trips, Page 6 reported that in May of 2017 that the couple went into a dressing room together in a Soho boutique. Now, it has since been revealed that most of this interaction was Joe's idea, so it is going to be included on this list. According to the report, the couple entered the change room and a customer noticed both of them in bare feet below the door. Now, while it is definitely creepy that someone was just peeking under doors in Soho, it was clear that Sophie was trying on clothes for Joe. When they exited, they noticed the couple were giggly and touchy-feely. Now, while being close is not a bad thing, it's not against the law, these two have constantly asked the world to ignore them and stop focusing on their love lives. Well, maybe stop changing in public and licking each other on camera. Number 4. Flirty McGurdy. When these two first got together, it was believed that Joe had every bit of leverage, and you might be asking why. Well, Sophie was into him for quite some time, but she was well aware that Joe was not exactly known for his commitment skills. When they first met, he was what people call a player, and according to several women, he was seeing them simultaneously and without the other's knowledge. Joe's tone shifted though when he met Sophie in December of 2016. He was becoming a one-woman kind of guy. According to Sophie, though, they were intoxicated with each other and started dating exclusively. However, it appears that he was playing the field for so long that he kind of forgot to turn his game off. Joe was always flirting with people at his shows while he was still married to Sophie, and while she was taking care of a baby. While it may have been accidental, the fact that he's not aware of what he was doing is bad. Just bad guy. Number 3, tried to ride her coattails. As Joe's relationship with Sophie progressed, he started showing his true colors. Now, while Sophie has not starred in many projects since becoming a mom, deciding to take time off to focus on herself and her family, Joe spends the majority of his time on a bus with his crew. Apparently, the decision to not be a stay-at-home dad was one he made the moment they got together. Throughout her entire pregnancy, an insider close to Sophie revealed that Joe was trying to get acting gigs based on her recommendations. While this woman was literally growing their spawn, he was like,
So can I be in the next X-Men movie?
Come on, guy, you were on the Disney Channel. You're telling me you can't walk into an office and smile? How do you think Nick Jonas got into Jumanji? It feels like his decision to go on tour was an act of spite. One of the main things Sophie was worried about from day one was a distance due to work, and
Look what happened.
Number 2, going back on his word. One of Sophie's biggest demands in this custody battle is that their 2 children be returned to England. The complaint against Joe calls for the immediate return of children wrongfully removed or wrongfully retained. In fact, Sophie's legal team used the words wrongful retention just to sound fancy. She claims that Joe agreed to declare England their forever home in conversations that took place over Christmas in 2022. And while they were prepping for the year ahead, she said that after they sold their Miami home, they were in the process of buying a home in the English countryside in April, at which point Sophie was busy filming a TV series while Joe had started touring with the Jonas Brothers. They eventually split up in late August, and then the 2 of them met up to discuss the issue of custody and the next steps in co-parenting. At this point, Sophie says she once again brought up their plan to move to England, but Joe no longer agreed to it. In fact, he had a complete change of heart. And since they filed for a divorce in Florida, that basically ensured that the kids could not leave the state while the proceedings were ongoing. So he pretty much stopped any plan she ever had of doing anything. And at number 1, he was dragging her down. One of the main arguments from this whole divorce is who is the partier. At first, Joe was claiming that it was Sophie who was partying too hard for his comfort, but her fans quickly defended that idea and reminded him that of the 2, it was Joe that had more photo evidence against himself. But since getting the divorce paperwork on the go, Sophie has been seen more and more at parties, nightclubs, and the like. Most recently, she's been regularly photographed with her best friend Taylor Swift, a woman who also used to date Joe Jonas. According to Taylor, her time with Joe was quick and forgetful. She didn't seem very happy with this guy, and it seems that Taylor and Sophie may be bonding over their mutual hatred for Joe. Number 10, Harry Styles. The Watermelon Sugar singer briefly formed one of the most iconic pop power couples of all time when Taylor revealed that they were an item in 2012. Being dubbed Haylor, the couple met at the Nickelodeon Kids' Choice Awards after Taylor was filmed dancing to Harry's performance with her backstage bestie Selena Gomez. It was confirmed that they were an item when Taylor paid Harry a visit during the X Factor rehearsals ahead of her performance on the show. They were caught getting cozy by onlookers, and they were not shy about the PDA. After going on a trip to the Caribbean together in 2013, they returned having decided to split. There was never any confirmation on why they split, but there also seemed to be no ill will between anyone. At this year's Golden Globes, the 2 met once again on the red carpet, and there was nothing but joy. Whatever went down back in the day, the fame that came from the hashtag Haylor was well worth it. Number 9, Joe Jonas. Another high-profile, short-lived romance came from Camp Rock star Joe Jonas. The couple started dating under the radar in 2008, but were official that summer. The truth was revealed when Taylor and Joe performed together on stage at a handful of concerts on his Burnin' Up tour. Despite the world being pretty excited to see where the relationship was headed, before it was even Christmas, she was on the Ellen DeGeneres show calling out how Joe broke up with her in a 25-second phone call. Breaking up over the phone is his favorite thing to do. He just did it to Sophie a few weeks ago, so that's nice. Following her appearance on the show, he addressed the situation by half admitting to and half disputing Taylor's claims, even correcting her by saying it was actually a 27-second conversation. Okay. They were forced to perform together on New Year's Eve live on TV that year, noticeably being placed on opposite ends of the stage. There's even a picture from that night where you can see Ryan Seacrest in the background, who understands what's happening because he's just like, yikes. The similarities between his split from Taylor and his split from Sophie Turner may be the reason that these 2 seem to be bonding more and more as the days go by. Number 8, Travis Kelce. This is the most recent entry to Taylor's library of possible partners. Travis Kelce is a football player for the Kansas City Chiefs, and Taylor was spotted attending one of his games this weekend. Okay, nothing out of the ordinary. But wait! There's more! Taylor was spotted attending the event with his mother! What? That's crazy! Literally sitting arm in arm together the entire night, Taylor was photographed cheering him on from the sidelines, his mother sharing the excitement right along with her. Now, if that is not enough for you, he was later photographed walking out of the stadium with Taylor Swift, and recently she bought out a restaurant just so they could have lunch together. Now, whether they're actually a couple or not is yet to be confirmed, but the huge media coverage brewing from this news and all the photos being taken and all the evidence being gathered, they're dating. They're 100% together now. Number 7, Taylor Lautner. Taylor Taylor and Taylor were together briefly in 2009 after meeting on the set of the romantic comedy Valentine's Day. In the film, they played high school sweethearts, something that apparently made its way into their real lives. Following filming, T-Squared began sparking dating rumors. Those rumors were confirmed when they appeared at the Video Music Awards red carpet that year. The same year that Kanye West interrupted Taylor on stage. Not even a cliff-diving werewolf can scare that man. They were a cute couple on paper and in the eyes of the media, which really helped out their careers. 2009 was the same year that Taylor was set to star in Twilight: A New Moon as his iconic character, Jacob, and Taylor was making waves with the release of her album Speak Now coming up in the new year. They both made appearances as the host of Saturday Night Live on separate nights, but referencing each other during their respective monologues. That's so cute. In December of that year, the couple called it quits, with both claiming that the media was making a way bigger deal out of things than they needed to. They became good friends and simply realized that they didn't need to be a couple to enjoy each other's company. Number 6. Jake Gyllenhaal. The brief romance between these two happened years ago, but Swifties remember Jakey all too well. Taylor and Jake first made breaking news in 2010 when they were spotted together in New York City, meeting backstage at Saturday Night Live and getting pretty close. Over the months that followed, sparks started flying between these two, but those sparks went out pretty fast. Less than a year after getting together, the couple called it quits. The split was quick and quiet, not much came from it, but most fans believe that several of her songs on Red, including the song All Too Well, were inspired by Jake. Taylor is able to take every breakup she's ever been in and make us dance about it. In the years that have followed, Jake and Taylor have maintained a solid friendship, but the timing of their relationship could not have been better for Jake. At the same time that his name was popping up in gossip columns, the Disney movie Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time was on its way to theaters. Swifties bought tickets to see Taylor's boy toy in armless leather and wielding little jabby thingies, but they were instead met with a bad movie and a few months later an uncomfortable image of Taylor Swift's ex imprinted into their skull for the rest of their lives. Number 5. Calvin Harris. After dating for only 15 months, Taylor and Scottish beatmaker Calvin Harris decided to split. While Calvin and Taylor were actually pretty chill in terms of the aftermath from their split, their friends and fans were not so chill. People started trashing Calvin and claiming that he was intimidated by Swift's success compared to his own. Despite Calvin praising Taylor online for her courage and her career, Kim Kardashian and Katy Perry chimed in on Twitter, causing a massive online feud that spanned for months. Now eventually, while still dealing with the aftermath, she began dating Tom Hiddleston. Since their split, the amount of content they have made based on each other is ridiculous. Many people believe that Calvin's beats were slowly becoming based on his time with Taylor, and obviously vice versa. He later claimed that he was advised not to say her name or say anything directly related to their breakup in any of his songs. So while not a PR stunt, the aftermath put a spotlight on Calvin, and he was added to Taylor's long list of famous boos. Number 4. Matt Healy. The controversial frontman of the 1975 sparked dating rumors when he and Taylor were spotted getting cozy after a concert earlier this year. These two have been friends since 2014, but following Taylor's split from Joey Alwyn, Matty decided to take his shot. The two were in what many people call to be a whirlwind romance, and it just so happened that at the same time these rumors gained traction, Matty was being exposed as an all-around rough person. There's a lot of bad stuff attached to that guy. After only a month of confirmed so-called dating, Taylor announced that she wanted nothing to do with Matty. It became painfully obvious that his on-stage antics and his overall being was just not something that Taylor could vibe with. Arguably, Matty's misdeeds may have gone under the radar had it not been for Taylor. He's been getting away with some pretty shady stuff for a long time and saying some pretty crazy things, but suddenly when he starts dating Taylor Swift, he's public enemy number 1. Good! He deserved every bit of hate that he got. Number 3. Lucas Till. Lucas Till, not much can be said about his time with Taylor, as it was actually the shortest relationship that I've put on this list. Now, for those who don't know, Lucas is an American actor who starred in movies from every genre, spanning from like the X-Men to biographical dramas. In 2009, while still relatively unknown, he started dating Taylor Swift. The two were only together for a month before they called it quits. According to Taylor, they were just both too nice, you know? According to the former X-Man, the decision to split was simple. After being romantic for a month, they realized that they were just better off as friends. But that doesn't matter to Swifties. Even if if it was a 2-week fling, he was now on the list of disgruntled ex-boyfriends. Oddly enough though, around the same time that the split took place, his name was in tabloids and headlines as her new ex-boo. Now this meant that when he went in for auditions, his name was no longer unfamiliar to anybody in the room. 2 years later, he appeared in X-Men First Class as Havoc and has maintained a solid acting career ever since, most recently being the man to take on the mantle of MacGyver in a TV reboot that ended after 4 seasons. Number 2. Tom Hiddleston. Tom and Taylor were together for 3 glorious months back in 2016. After Tom had debuted in Marvel and Taylor was riding on the success of her 1989 album from 2014. According to a source at the time, the breakup was entirely Taylor's idea. Now at the time, Tom wanted their relationship to go public and she was uncomfortable with that. Apparently Tom was just more invested in the relationship than she was at the time. The couple first met when Taylor was still dating Calvin Harris in May, like I previously mentioned. After they shared a dance together at that year's Met Gala, they were smitten. They were caught sucking face on the beach not far from Tom's Rhode Island home the following month, and the public was introduced to Hiddleswift. Taylor had split from Calvin and the two were now free to be together. Following the massive amount of online love, it appeared that Tom was ready to bring that love into the mainstream and use it to sell tickets to his films and to her concerts. Both worked, as Loki is the best character in Marvel right now and Taylor broke Ticketmaster. So come see, come saw. Number 1, Joe Alwyn. Taylor's longest relationship on this list is with her most recent ex, Joey Alwyn. After 6 years of being together, the couple decided to call it quits. At the time, they claimed that it was due to differences in their personalities. Since late 2016, the couple have shared some truly adorable moments together on screen and in private. Joe was even spotted at a few of Taylor's concerts in the early stages of their relationship, just solo, was there just showing support. For 6 years, things went smooth. Joe was an actor receiving fairly steady work after his career-making role in Billy Lynn's Long Halftime Walk. Taylor was by his side at every red carpet and vice versa at awards shows and the like. Now they were inseparable, but suddenly in 2023, after 6 long years, they called it quits. The news came while Taylor was on the road for the start of her Eras tour, a tour that he was never actually spotted at or even invited to. According to an insider close to Taylor, Joe just could not handle the level of fame that she was on. They couldn't just exist in public because Taylor would be surrounded by paparazzi and fans the moment that they stepped out of their house. Since the split, Taylor has been on her Eras tour and has been appearing in the news more and more. Meanwhile, Joe has just kind of been existing on the sidelines, shortly being called every name in the book by Swifties around the world. So hope you're okay, buddy. Number 10, Megan Fox and Brian Austin Green. Megan and Brian were together for over 10 years, sharing 3 little ones during that time. The couple first met in 2004 while filming the ABC sitcom Hope and Faith. After a couple of years of dating, they got married, but just because they put a ring on it did not mean that they were exclusive. They actually got engaged and split up a couple of times before officially tying the knot. Already a red flag right there. After becoming official though, many paparazzi spotted Megan and Brian out and about with other people. Now at first we just assumed that they were close friends or something, but cheating rumors started to run rampant. As the years went by and their family grew, Megan's views on marriage started shifting. She would say that being married was a day-to-day task and it was becoming very difficult at times. Between 2015 and 2020, they were almost divorced twice, and the main reason being was the spark was just dying out and they were starting to see other people. There's a good chance that this was happening while they were still married. When the official and final divorce was filed, Megan quickly found comfort in the arms of another man, that man eventually being MGK, the man that she is still with today, and it seems like it's exclusive for now. While they never called their marriage open, they did start seeing other people while the rings were still on the finger, so definitely it counts. Number 9, Ashton Kutcher and Demi Moore. Alright, what's up? I'm Ashton Kutcher and you just got punked! That's something that actually used to happen on TV all the time and it sticks in my brain and I don't like it. In case that didn't unlock the MTV vault for you that I'm sure is hidden deep within everyone's memories, allow me to enlighten you. Ashton rose to fame following his successful role on the sitcom That 70s Show as well as his time hosting the MTV prank show Punk'd. Now he married fellow actor Demi Moore in 2005 and stayed married for nearly 8 years. The split seemed to come from nowhere. There was some speculation that Ashton ended things to be with his current wife Mila, but that speculation was revealed to be complete bull poo poo. In Demi's book titled Inside Out, she revealed that the cause of the split was actually due to Ashton's infidelity. Apparently, he cheated on her multiple times and actually told her about it, trying to pressure her into including a third party and create this open open marriage thing that he wanted. When Ashton found out about this news becoming public, he was extremely upset. According to Ashton, he had finally gotten to a place where the media was just leaving him and his family alone, and literally the next day following the news, paparazzi were waiting for Ashton and his kids outside of their school. Not only did his cheating ruin his relationship with Demi, but it kind of caused a problem between himself and the rest of his family, so that's not good. Number 8. Lizzo and Mike Wright. During an interview on the radio show The Breakfast Club, Lizzo explained how she and her ex-partner Mike Wright were never really public, merely dropping their so-called soft launch earlier this year. But during the interview, Lizzo shared that she actually doesn't believe in the concept of monogamy, continuing by explaining her views on polyamory and so-called free love. Right on, man. She said that she didn't want to live by any specific set of rules and doubled down when another host on the show, Angela Yee, asked her if the circumstances would ever change should Wright disagree with this polyamory situation. Well, Lizzo just said, well, it's just love. If he chooses to no longer love her while she loved him, that was on him. But she claimed that they did share a lot of love and that the chances of a split were pretty unlikely. Well, whether it was that comment or the fact that she is being sued for some pretty gnarly stuff, Mike decided to leave the superstar in search of a new life. Probably the best decision he's ever made. Number 7. Scott Disick and Khloe Kardashian. Keeping Up with the Kardashians is a historical series in the world of reality TV. For over a decade, fans have been able to watch this family grow, both literally and figuratively, with the addition of friends, family, and in this case, ex-lovers. Scott and Kourtney's story began where all fairy tale relationships begin, at a famous friend's house in Mexico. In 2006, the pair attended a mutual friend's party at his home in Mexico, and a photograph from that night shows that they were sitting together, but they were nowhere near each other. Disick recounted liking Kourtney immediately, but that she wanted, nothing to do with him. But something must have changed in between A and B, as the two appeared as a couple on the series premiere of the reality show in 2007. At first, the family was standoffish, claiming that Scott was just immature and that his loyalties seemed to mean nothing because he might have been doing some stuff behind the cameras. Kris Jenner, Kourtney's mom, said in one episode that she knows that Scott was cheating on her daughter, but that she wasn't sure how to go about the situation. Disick denied the claims and reaffirmed that he loved Kourtney until he could deny no longer when sisters Kim and Khloe found a series of texts on an old phone from someone named My Wife, and well, it wasn't Kourtney. The text revealed that he had cheated on her while the family was staying in the Hamptons, and Kim was furious for about 2 seconds, and a year later she would announce that the pair were expecting their first child together, making the whole cheating thing just seem like water under the bridge. Well, it didn't stop, because over the years the couple split and healed over and over again, and one time Scott Disick even entered rehab with the support of Kourtney, and he still went out and did stuff behind her back. They split only to get back together again and again and again, and as of today they seem to have called it quits for good, but good lord, that is a very complicated relationship. Number 6. Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith. In 2015, Will Smith starred in a film called Focus, in which he played a con man in the midst of his latest scheme when a woman from his past, played by Margot Robbie, arrives and just throws everything for a loop. Timing of this film being made could not have been more perfect, as we know now that Will and Jada were taking a break during that time. For Jada, this meant an entanglement with August Alsina, and for Will, this might have meant some time for himself and Margot Robbie. They were free to rehearse their scenes in private, if you know what I mean. It was confirmed that Margot and Will weren't seeing each other during production of Focus, because there were a lot of pictures, but Jada Pinkett Smith was certain about it. Despite being legally married in 1997, the institutionalized concept of tying the knot just never really sat with Jada Pinkett Smith. Apparently, she only married Will because she was pregnant with Jaden and felt that it was the right move to make, which is always a healthy way to start the marriage. Force. While Jada herself is also a cheater and has publicly admitted it, she's held a grudge towards Margot Robbie for 8 years, but there's never been any proof, and for some reason she's mad, even though there have been several times when these two have been like, oh, we're in an open marriage, isn't it neat? Well, Will and Jada might still be together for now, but I think we can all agree that they just need to get split already. Now, there are not a ton of public open marriages in the world of Hollywood these days, shocker, so why don't we just cover some cheater pumpkin eaters that have been exposed over the last couple of years. Number 5, Maud's son and Avril Lavigne. This year, shocking reports hit the internet claiming that Avril Lavigne had called off her engagement to Maud's son. Well, a TMZ insider claimed that things had been on and off for a while as the couple tried to mend their romance. But then when they got in touch with the Karma Singer team, a rep declared that the last thing he heard was the couple had been engaged, and that was only 3 days prior, so anything else would be news to him. Well, Avril Lavigne had been spotted out and about with a man named Tyga, who she claimed was just a friend. But the internet likes to gossip, so the headlines were Avril Lavigne cheats on Maud's son. 1 week after his tour started and the news broke, he posted a series of photos on Instagram, making reference to a broken heart, and knowing that there is a plan for everyone. Maud thanked his fans and then went dark. Since then, the two have been drenched in rumors, but the only thing that has been confirmed is these two now reside in Splitsville. Number 4, Corey Feldman and Courtney Ann. Former Lost Boys star Corey Feldman has had a pretty rough life. Things have not gone great for this man, and unfortunately that applies to the love department as well. After 7 years of marriage, he and his ex Courtney announced their split. According to Corey, life was just simply difficult for the couple, and the split was a mutual decision. However, one aspect he did not share with the world was the fact that for the past few years they were in an alleged open marriage. While this was just a speculation, the couple were known to be free spirits, so to speak. Following some health issues, according to Corey, it just didn't make sense for these two to stay married. He decided to give her time to heal alone, while he just kinda continues to do his thing. Number 3, Natalie Portman and Benjamin Millepied. After 11 years of marriage, it was recently announced that Thor: Love and Thunder star Natalie Portman and her husband Benjamin Millepied will be separating following a pretty public and messy affair on Ben's part. Ben, who I assume was named after a children's cartoon, was spotted with a 25-year-old climate activist. While Natalie Portman was mad, she initially tried to work things out with Ben in an attempt to save their marriage, but the affair put a massive strain on the relationship. Shocker. The couple had met on set of the 2009 drama Black Swan, Ben acting as a scriptwriter for that project. While the affair had shaken their relationship, when asked about the issues by Us Weekly, he said that he shared her pain and that he was sending her a new script. Huh? While they may still be working together professionally, emotionally, they have checked out. Number 2, Drake Bell and Janet Von Schmeling. Drake was a small screen sweetheart in the early 2000s, starring in several Nickelodeon shows like Drake and Josh and The Amanda Bynes Show, and he was on track to be a megastar in the world of Hollywood, but he's unfortunately one of those child actors who took a turn for the worse. He starred in a number of low-budget movies over the years, but his status as a celebrity was gone. The final nail was driven into the coffin in 2021 when Drake was sentenced to 2 years of probation and 200 hours of community service after it was revealed that he had been grooming a young fan for years. So if you see him in an orange jumpsuit on the side of the street or something, or cleaning graffiti, that's why. Recently it was announced that his wife Janet had filed for a divorce from Drake following a situation where he was literally missing for 5 days on a bender doing God knows what with strange women. On the actual paperwork, Vaughn has cited irreconcilable differences and has requested legal and physical custody of the younglings. Now, in April of this year, Drake was reported missing, only to turn up completely unharmed 5 days later. According to Janet, Drake's mental health has been slowly declining in the last few years, but his toxicity towards his partners is nothing new, as his ex Melissa Lingefelt accused him of being verbally manipulative and physically violent. Between his rocky history and declining mental health, we're happy to see that Janet got out of there before anything too crazy took place. Who knows how bad of a dad he will be? We all know he can't build a treehouse. And at number 1, Shanine Doherty and Kurt Israyenko. This past April, the alumni of Charmed filed for a divorce from her husband Kurt after 11 years of marriage. She was photographed in March without her wedding ring on display, causing many to assume that the divorce had been something they were planning for quite some time. As with most celebrities who file for a divorce, the couple cited irreconcilable differences, and Shanine claimed that divorce was the last thing she wanted. Unfortunately, her husband left her no choice. While there was no real confirmation on what was happening behind the scenes, according to Shanine herself, Kurt's agent intimately involved with their divorce. Neither Kurt nor his agent have spoken out about the rumors, probably because they're too busy getting down. Ooh. Number 10, Katy Perry and Russell Brand. Russell Brand has taken over the news recently after he was added to the list of comedians who fell very hard from grace. After several women came forward alleging mistreatment, Russell's career was destroyed, and rightfully so. Now, for a brief period in time, he was married to one of the most popular artists ever, Katy Perry, for 14 months to be exact. Their relationship was rocky from start to finish. Now, while on the outside things seemed fine, Katie has revealed that she was well aware of Russell's behavior. In fact, the first time they ever met, Russell attempted to force himself onto her, but she took it as playful and pushed him off. She never got Russell to sign a prenup or anything involving a share in finances. However, when they did get divorced, there was a mutual agreement that they would share their assets earned together 50-50, even signing the paper with a little smiley face. If she had delivered that information sooner, Russell would have been left penniless and in prison before he could have written a book. Number 9. Joe Jonas and Sophie Turner. Joe and Sophie are currently going through an extremely public divorce, with the latest information being that Sophie is suing Joe for the return of their children to England. A court filing set in place on Thursday called for Joe Jonas to act, demanding the immediate return of the children who were wrongfully retained. According to Sophie's team, the wrongful retention began on September the 20th. The couple had apparently agreed to make England their forever home. The couple sold their home in Miami, and they were in the process of purchasing property in the English countryside. Joe had been in charge of the little ones since he started touring, while Sophie claims that he had more time available to be with them during the day because she was busy filming a little mini-series. According to Sophie, she didn't even know that Joe wanted a divorce until she read articles about it online. When the conversation was brought back up about who will live where, Joe changed his mind apparently, and he has been keeping their passports to himself, and so far his money is also staying right where it is. Despite the announcement of this divorce taking place in the beginning of August, it feels like there is something new happening every other day with these people. Number 8. Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. On top of the domestic accusations placed against Johnny, there was also a pretty lengthy divorce battle with his ex Amber Heard that spanned over a year. The couple were only ever married for a fairly short time, literally just over a year to be exact. Now, despite them both being pretty successful when they tied the knot, no paperwork was ever signed, and their divorce was just a doomsday clock slowly counting down to May in 2016. After over a year of legal garb, Johnny was forced to pay Amber over $7 million, but the joke's on her as she used that money to bring a team of lawyers with her to court after an op-ed surrounding domestic allegations against Johnny was contested. And at the end of that ordeal, Johnny got his $7 million back and then some. Number 7. Ashton Kutcher and Demi Moore. Ashton, of course, dated and was married to Demi Moore for a long time, but their marriage quickly came to an end when Demi discovered Ashton was seeing another woman behind her back. That old tidbit. Too bad for Ashton, she really should have signed a prenup. Their divorce proceedings went on for years, and while the former couple attempted to agree on some kind of a settlement, it just took some time. Unfortunately for Ashton, Demi is good at getting what she wants. After a ton of legal work and digging up dirt, Ashton ended up being a little bit more generous than he had to be. Apparently, Demi received a significant amount of money and property from That 70s Show star. As I kinda hinted at, most of that goal to win came from the fact that Ashton began publicly dating his now wife, Mila Kunis, and it was only a couple of weeks after they had already filed for a divorce. There's always been speculation that Mila and Ashton were together before the papers were ever filed, but nothing's ever been proven. If you ask me though, Demi's fury is proof plenty. Number 6. Mel B and Jimmy Gulzer. Mel may be known best as Scary Spice from her time with the legendary pop crew the Spice Girls, but it was Mel that was put into a bit of a scary situation when she divorced her husband and backup dancer Jimmy Gulzer. Despite being married for only 16 months, Mel was ordered by the court to pay Jimmy a settlement worth about $1.6 million, including cash payments and a property that was worth almost $1 million by itself. By the time Mel B divorced her second husband, Stephen Belafonte, she was forced to offer hubby number 2 a settlement of $6.5 million. She did not learn from the first one. Over the course of 2 relationships, Mel was forced to pay roughly $7.6 million in assets and cash. If Mel had put a prenup in place during either of these marriages, she may have saved herself a few million. Or 4, but instead she was forced to pay way too much to men who clearly knew what they were doing, squeezing Mel for every bit of cash she had. Number 5. Adele and Simon Konecki. Adele is known around the world for her incredible voice and equally powerful stage presence. In 2021, she filed for a divorce from her husband, Sam Konecki, who was also the CEO of Adele's Drop for Drop charity. After over a year of back and forth negotiations, Sam ended up walking away with an astounding amount, $171 million. paid outright. He would not receive spousal support, he would not receive any kind of anything, he just got $171 deposited into his account. Adele was essentially paying this man off to leave her alone for the rest of her life. Now, on top of the financial payoff, the couple decided to share joint custody of their son, Angelo. While not happy with each other, they have gone on record saying that Angelo is first and foremost in their lives. Being a parent is the most important thing that they could be doing right now. If she had made Sam sign a prenup beforehand, there is no way that he would have walked away with that much money. But then again, she's Adele. For all we know, 171 million is closer to like $200 for her. Number 4, Britney Spears and Kevin Federline. Britney may have recently split with her short-lived boo Sam Asghari, but it was her even more controversial backup dancer boy toy Kevin Federline that walked away with a lot of cash and a little bit of fame. During the early days of her career, Britney made her fortune on the back of her squeaky clean image, but that image was very quickly destroyed after a long night of partying, left her with a wedding ring, foggy memories, and Kevin. They had one of those little Vegas weddings, but eventually they made their way down the aisle for real. The couple were together for 3 years and had 2 kids together, but even having one big happy family was just not enough to keep these two happy. When Britney and Kevin split, they had not agreed on any kind of a money situation beforehand, so Kevin was ultimately granted $40,000 a month. A month! That's more than most people make in 3 months, let alone 1. Kevin was basically given a free pass to just chill and be a dad, while Britney, well, we all know what happened to Britney Spears. Number 3, Paul McCartney and Heather Mills. As one of the most important men in music history for, creating the Beatles, Paul McCartney had a lot to lose in the event that his second marriage to the much younger Heather Mills ever went south. Now, despite knowing what could happen if he did not get her to sign a prenup, he went ahead with the marriage easy peasy. Well, not so easy peasy, because after 6 years together, they finally split up and doomsday was arriving. He made the decision amid a slew of accusations that she was addicted to no substances and her apparent dislike for Sir Paul's children that he had from his last marriage. Now, because there was no prenup in place and he was, Paul McCartney, Heather walked away with a modest $40-ish million plus 70 grand per year set aside for their daughter Beatrice until she turned 18. We can't really blame Paul. I guess he just assumed that his second marriage would be his last, but buddy, third time's the charm. Second time is never good. Number 2, Jessica Simpson and Nick Lachey. When Jessica Simpson and Nick Lachey tied the knot in 2002, getting a divorce was the last thing on their minds. The young lovers fell hard in the early 20s. Of course, paperwork and logistics were not on their minds. They were too busy being happy and rich. Even though Nick did eventually touch on the subject with Jessica briefly, she turned him down and did not want to talk about it again. Prenups were insulting to her. The couple were divorced only a few years after getting together, and looking back, Simpson herself said that she should have signed something. According to her, she was actually offended when initially asked to sign the paperwork, telling Nick that they were going to be together forever though. Of course, forever didn't last, but thankfully neither Nick nor Jessica were very vengeful when it came time to split. Minimal money was shared, and if anything, they probably gave each other their stuff back rather than any cash. Number 1, Mel and Robin Gibson. Mel is one of the more controversial celebrities around. He's played several characters over the years, from religious people to Mark Wahlberg's dad. This guy's been a busy bee. Now, when it comes to his love life though, it's been a rocky road to say the least. Mel did not have much luck in the love department. After being with his wife Robin for 30 years, the couple decided to call it quits. Having decided very early on how things would go should a divorce take place, Mel was forced to pay Robin $425 million, which was apparently only half of his total net worth. Half. On top of paying her the money on the spot, she was also entitled to a percentage of his earnings from any future projects. Not only did Robin get a ton of money from the Braveheart star, but his then girlfriend Oksana Grigorieva also received over $700,000 when Mel abruptly abandoned her too. Next time, you gotta negotiate, man. Number 10, Jeremy Allen White and Addison Timlin. Jeremy made a big move in the acting world after his FX comedy series The Bear premiered premiered on Disney Plus this past year, but he's actually been making people laugh, cry, and scream since starring as Lip Gallagher in the hit TV series Shameless, a show that I definitely haven't watched 10 times start to finish back to back. Definitely wouldn't do that. No sir. He met his future wife Addison on set of a film called After School in 2008. They were close friends for almost 12 years before becoming an official item in 2019. The relationship has mainly taken place behind the scenes apart from a few Instagram posts, but Jeremy's love for his wife has been well known since his acceptance speech at the 2023 Golden Globes, where he won the award for the best actor in a musical or comedy TV series. Unfortunately, roughly 2 months ago, Addison filed for a divorce from Jeremy with little to no explanation so far. 3 days following the divorce announcement, she posted a picture of herself with her daughter on Instagram and captioned it "single mom," which was apparently news to Jeremy, who was under the impression that they would be co-parenting. While their relationship may have ended in a mess, there might be a new one on the horizon, as Jeremy was spotted with Wizards of Waverly Place star Selena Gomez. Hey, Lip Gallagher and Alex Russo would be so cute together. Number 9. Natalie Portman. After 11 years of marriage, it was recently announced that Thor: Love and Thunder star Natalie Portman and her husband Benjamin Millepied will be separating following a very public and messy affair on Ben's part. Ben, who I assume is named after a kids cartoon, was spotted with a 25-year-old climate activist. While Portman was mad, she initially did try to work things out with Ben in an attempt to save their marriage, but the affair put a massive strain on their relationship. The couple had met on set of the 2009 drama Black Swan, with Ben acting as a scriptwriter for the project. While the affair had shaken up their relationship, when asked about the issues by Us Weekly, he said that he shared her pain and that he was sending her a new script. I don't know, while they may still be working together professionally, emotionally speaking, they have definitely checked out. Number 8. Drake Bell and Janet von Schmeling. Drake was a small screen sweetheart in the early 2000s, starring in several Nickelodeon shows and movies like Drake and Josh, The Amanda Bynes Show, and of course the live-action Fairly Odd Parents. He was on track to be a megastar in the world of Hollywood, but unfortunately is one of the many Nickelodeon stars who took a turn for the worse. He starred in a number of low-budget flicks over the years, but his status as a celebrity was gone at that point. The nail was finally driven into the coffin in 2021 when Drake was sentenced to 2 years of probation and 200 hours of community service after it was revealed that he had been grooming a younger fan for years. So if you see him in an orange jumpsuit cleaning graffiti off of a wall, you might know why. Recently, it was announced that his wife Janet had filed for divorce from Drake following that situation and another one where he was missing for 5 days on a bender doing God knows what with the strange women and friends that she had never met. On the actual paperwork, Vaughn has cited irreconcilable differences and has requested legal and physical custody of their younglings. In April of this year, Drake was reported missing only to turn up completely unharmed 5 days later, and according to Janet, Drake's mental health had slowly been declining in the last few years. His toxicity towards his partners is nothing new, as his ex Melissa Lingefelt accused him of being verbally manipulative and physically violent. Between his rocky history and declining mental health, we're happy to see that Janet got out of there before anything too crazy took place. Who knows how bad of a dad this guy could actually be. I mean, we all know he can't build a treehouse. Number 7. Joe Jonas and Sophie Turner. Joe and Sophie got together back in 2016 after they had been set up by mutual friends, something that they had been trying to do for quite some time. They got together and instantly fell in love, getting married just over a year after getting together. Sophie admitted to Rolling Stones in 2019 that she was hesitant at first. Joe was this big musician and she was a big TV and film star, meaning that most of the time they would be on opposite ends of the world. Eventually she warmed up and got together with Joe officially, but the split came out of nowhere. For the most part, their relationship has seemed to be stable on the outside. They were never a part of a cheating scandal, which is surprising considering Joe's lack of discretion in the past. There were never any strange rumors or photos, they were just this happy couple. But as of September 1st, Joe Jonas has filed for a divorce from Sophie, with the only current information being that Joe has claimed the relationship to be irretrievably broken. Something pretty serious must have gone on in a very short amount of time. Only hours before the announcement, Joe posted a photo of himself to Instagram with his ring on full display. Despite the minimal amount of tea spilt so far, we are in for a very messy divorce. Number 6. Britney Spears and Sam Asghari. Britney and Sam's marriage is in shambles. The couple that got together back in 2016 seemed to be great on the outside. As Britney was getting better overall, her relationship with Sam became more and more serious. Sam was right there by her side through thick and thin. Eventually, they tied the knot in 2022, which is why it was so devastating for her fans to learn that the couple had called it quits just a little over a month ago. The words used on the actual divorce paperwork say irreconcilable differences, which for Hollywood people just tends to mean nothing good. Sam was the one to officially file for the divorce, demanding that Britney pay spousal support and attorney fees. Since this news is so recent, there is no current update on how the couple are doing or how deep into the process they are. Britney once again made headlines in the media, something that she hadn't really done since the early 2010s. Her divorce was covered constantly, and the internet has been weighing in their decisions ever since. Number 5, Ariana Grande and Ethan Slater. So bear with me here for a moment, because Ariana is actually the cause of this divorce, so strap in. The pop star and Broadway giant are set to star in a film adaptation of the Broadway hit Wicked, following the story of the Wicked Witch before the events of The Wizard of Oz. Ariana plays Glinda the Good, and Slater is Bach, the main love interest of the Wicked Witch. It's ironic that Ariana is the good witch though, as she appears to have stolen another woman's man. Ethan was married to a woman named Lily J since 2018, and the pair even welcomed their first child into the world in 2022. Apparently, Ariana and Ethan fell in love on set and started dating behind the scenes. However, on-set insiders shared the information to Slater's wife, who was furious, and while the couple have agreed to raise their child as co-parents, Ethan officially filed for a divorce in July of this year. Number 4, Billy Porter and Adam Smith. Billy and Adam have been together for 6 years before recently announcing their amicable divorce. The American Horror Story star and his husband Adam met after being introduced by a mutual friend in 2009. They briefly dated but ultimately split before getting back together in 2015 and tying the knot a year later. Over the past few years, they have been one of Hollywood's favorite couples, regularly being spotted at award ceremonies and fancy events, just happily holding each other. It's so cute, it makes me want to vomit. Unfortunately, their relationship seems to have slowly fizzled out as they announced they would be filing for a divorce. The decision came from a conversation that they had and a decision that they made mutually, claiming they will remain friends for the rest of their lives. However, the online rumors and backlash suggest that something a little bit darker has taken place behind the scenes. They've asked everyone to give them some privacy, so why don't we skip some bad jokes and not get into the rumors and just move on to the next entry. Number 3, Shanine Doherty and Kurt Israenko. This past April, the alumni of Charmed filed for a divorce from her husband Kurt after 11 years of marriage. She was photographed in March without her wedding ring on display, causing many to assume that the divorce had been something planned for quite some time. As with most celebrities who file for divorce, the couple cited irreconcilable differences. Shanine claimed that the divorce was the last thing she wanted. Unfortunately, her hubby left her no options. While there was no real confirmation on what was happening behind the scenes, according to Shanine herself, Kurt's agent was intimately involved with their divorce. Neither Kurt nor his agent have spoken out about the rumors, probably because they're too busy getting down. Ooh. Number 2, Noel Gallagher and Sarah McDonald. The former Oasis frontman, now in his mid-50s, revealed that himself and his wife Sarah would be filing for a divorce after 12 years of marriage. According to Noel, the couple simply got bored with each other, something not uncommon for people in their 50s. Speaking with Ireland's Hot Press magazine, Sarah told the outlet that the split was because she was sick and tired of Noel's partying habits. Even at the age of 55, this guy is acting like he's 20 years old, coming home late and reeking of no-no juice. Noel denied the claims and said that it was because of 2020 and being stuck with her for months on end. Noel claimed that while he hated his time in isolation, it was a very revealing time in his life. He was able to work on songs that were unfinished, as well as create some new ones. Much like a ton of couples at that time, they were realizing that they just weren't good at sharing a space. Before, they were able to go out and about and be alone, but for a solid 6 months, it was just them in a house every single day. So we get it. Number 1, Reese Witherspoon and Jim Toth. Over the years, Reese made quite the name for herself, starring in films like Legally Blonde, Walk the Line, and Hot Pursuit. She was well known for being a comedic actor able to tap into her serious side when the time came for it. Along for the ride right up until 2023 was Jim Toth. Jim has starred in a handful of projects, but mainly acts as a producer, creating sitcoms like According to Jim. The couple first got together in 2011 and quickly tied the knot. Over the last 12 years, there was never a sign that this couple was headed for disaster, but that may be due in part to them not getting out much. Reese has continued to act fairly steadily over the years, but for some reason, she has been appearing less and less in the public. Perhaps there was something going going on behind the scenes, as the announcement came only 2 days before they were supposed to celebrate their 12-year anniversary. According to a statement released by both of them, the decision was a mutual one, saying that they enjoyed their time with each other, but things just don't work out sometimes. That literally could have been the summarization for all of these splits.
Number 10. Ariana Grande. The pop star and Broadway giant is set to star in a film adaptation of the Broadway hit Wicked, following the story of the Wicked Witch before the events of The Wizard of Oz. Ariana Grande plays Glinda the Good Witch, and Ethan Slater is Bok, the main love interest of the Wicked Witch. It's ironic that Ariana is the Good Witch though, as she appears to have stolen another woman's man. Ethan Slater was married to a woman named Lily J since 2018, and the pair even welcomed their first child in 2022. Apparently, Ariana and Ethan fell in love on set, and they started dating behind the scenes. However, on set, an insider shared info into Ethan Slater's wife, who was apparently furious. While the couple have agreed to raise their child as co-parents, Ethan officially filed for divorce in July of this year. Number 9. Tom Sandoval. Vanderpump Rules star Tom Sandoval made headlines when accusations that he cheated on his longtime girlfriend Ariana Madix with their co-star Raquel Leviss. On news of the Tom Tom restaurant's co-owner's affair with Leviss broke on March 3rd, sources told People magazine that the affair had been going on for 6 months, leaving Madix blindsided and devastated by the revelation. In a clip from the season 10 finale of Vanderpump Rules, Madix explained to friends Katie Maloney and Shiana Shea about how she found out her boyfriend of 9 years, Tom Sandoval, was cheating on her with their co-star, while also revealing that the affair had been going on for 7 months, rather than 6. Sandoval and Leviss have respectively issued statements acknowledging the allegations within the week that the cheating news broke. Both have now opened up on the months-long affair and have apologized since. Number 8. Lily Reinhart. Cole Sprouse and Lily met on the set of Riverdale in 2016 while filming the pilot episode for the series that finally ended after being the most confusing series of all time. I mean, I had to stop after season 3 because they started getting into D&D, and that's a Stranger Things game. Anyway, they fell in love playing Jughead and Betty, having a relationship that lasted almost 7 years. Somewhere around 2020, things started to go downhill and they were plagued by cheating rumors, and things had apparently become heavy behind the scenes, according to Cole. Towards the end of that year, they confirmed the split online, but this year, Cole spoke out about the breakup while having a cancer stick in the middle of an interview, claiming he didn't want to get too deep into the topic, that it was a mutual decision. Unfortunately, Lily began receiving violent and threatening messages following the interview, as well as at the end of the show. This past week, the rumors arose once more, and fans are becoming online detectives once again to uncover the truth. Number 7. Natalie Portman. After 11 years of marriage, it was recently announced that Thor: Love and Thunder star Natalie Portman and her husband Benjamin Millepied will be separating following a very public and messy affair on Benny's part. Ben, who I assume is named after a kid's cartoon, was spotted with a 25-year-old climate activist, and while Natalie Portman was mad, she initially tried to work things out with Ben in an attempt to save their marriage, but the affair put a massive strain on their relationship. The couple had met on the set of the 2009 drama Black Swan, with Ben acting as a scriptwriter for the project. While the affair has shaken up their relationship, when asked about the issues by Us Weekly, he said that he shared her pain and that he was sending her a new script. While they might be working together again professionally, emotionally, they have completely checked out. Number 6. MGK. On February 11th, the couple announced their engagement last January, and then there were rumors of a breakup after they had 3 years together. Megan posted a series of pictures on Instagram with a pointed caption from Beyonce's Lemonade album, which, if you didn't know, is all about infidelity. On top of this, she deleted every trace of MGK from her Instagram page and unfollowed him. In fact, she raised eyebrows by unfollowing literally everyone except Harry Styles, Timothée Chalamet, and notably MGK's long-standing nemesis Eminem. It wasn't surprising that Megan's unusual behavior prompted people to speculate that she and MGK had called it quits after she'd found him cheating. Megan topped off the weekend's events by proceeding to deactivate her entire Instagram account. By February 13th, a source informed People magazine that the two of them hadn't quite called off their relationship, but they claimed that Megan had apparently gone as far as to remove her engagement ring, which, FYI, was specifically designed to cause pain whenever she takes it off. Apparently, the band is embedded with little diamond spikes that jam into her finger when she tries to pull it off. The final report claims that they had gotten into a spat, but that it had been blown way out of proportion. Then Megan publicly defended MGK's guitarist Sophie Lloyd online, who was the alleged mistress in this situation. But there seems to be no proof that anything physical ever took place, and the couple are currently working through their issues, but you never know what could happen in this wild world of Hollywood. Number 5. Sebastian Ledget. This year, Becky G hit the 2023 iHeartRadio music carpet without her engagement ring. She attended the ceremony at which she took home the award for Best Latin Pop Song of the Year for her and Karol G's music collab Mami. On Tuesday, March 27th, the same day her fiancé Sebastian seemingly confessed that he cheated on his girlfriend of 6 years via Instagram. He posted that over the previous weeks, during a moment that he deeply regrets, a 10-minute lapse in judgment resulted in an extortion plot. The 30-year-old soccer player shared the info on his Instagram after a fan claimed to have proof that he was unfaithful to Becky G. The fan claimed that he had a tryst with a woman while he was out in a club in Madrid last year, and they allegedly had receipts of this affair, including video, audio, texts, and more. The relationship seems to have crumbled, with the latest information being that Becky G is single, whereas Sebastian is trying to figure out incognito mode on his phone. Number 4. Steve Harvey. Now, Steve is trending on Twitter at the moment for two situations, one that actually happened and one that's been rumored. He seemingly fired his social media manager over a negative tweet regarding comedians and is now having to hear rumors about his wife Marjorie Bridges cheating on him. That's right, Harvey shared a video on Friday night suggesting that he fired his social media manager after they posted a tweet urging followers to name a comedian that does not make them laugh. Steve posted a video explaining the situation and claimed that that was not his style and it was not going to happen again. The morning following the post, rumors started circulating that his wife Marjorie would be seeking a divorce. According to the internet, she was caught having an affair with their chef and their bodyguard. So far, there is very little proof that any of these claims are actually legit. In fact, Steve himself has denied anything of the sort taking place. Friends and family of the couple have also claimed that they have been in contact and they have been told that there is nothing but happiness in their household. So this one is still a rumor at the moment, but this is a so far list and who knows what will be in the news in the near future. Number 3. P. Diddy. The rap star Young Miami confirmed that she and Mr. Sean Combs, aka P. Diddy, are no longer together. The couple went public with their relationship in June last year, but they let everyone know that it wasn't exclusive. They said at one point that they were together every day of the week, basically living together and letting the internet call it whatever they wanted. To double down on the claim, anytime they've been asked if they are official, they must list the people that they've been with outside of each other. Like these are all alibis in a court case or something. This past year, the world was shocked when Sean welcomed his 7th child into the world with a woman named Dana Tran. While the pair had decided to keep things private, apparently this was not part of the deal, and Miami has since made it clear that Sean is no longer her man in any way, shape, or form. So while Sean is stuck raising another baby, Miami will be sipping poolside surrounded by her lovers, and I feel bad for whoever cleans that pool. Number 2. Avril Lavigne. This year, shocking reports had hit the internet claiming that Avril Lavigne had called off her engagement to Mod. TMZ insiders claim that things had been on and off for a while as the couple tried to mend their romance, but then they got in touch with the Karma Singers team, and a rep declared that the last thing he heard from the couple was that they were engaged, and that was only 3 days prior, so anything else would be news to him. Avril had been spotted out and about with a man named Tiger, who she claims is just a friend, but the internet loves to gossip, so the headlines were that Avril was cheating on Mod's son. 1 week after his tour started and the news broke, he posted a series of photos on his Instagram, making references to a broken heart and knowing that there is a plan for everyone. He thanked his fans and went dark. Since then, the two of them have been drenched in rumors, and the only thing that has been confirmed is that these two now reside in Splitsville. And coming in at number 1, Jesse Rutherford. When the news first broke of Billie Eilish and Jesse Rutherford getting together, the internet drowned them in negative comments calling to question why she was dating someone 10 years older. They also poked fun at this couple who dressed up as a baby and an elderly man on their first ever Halloween together. This is the type of thing that would become the norm in their lives. The couple were always spotted wearing matching clothes or outlandish outfits, even making their red carpet debut while wearing matching Gucci pajamas at the Art and Film Gala. The couple were also known for their very public displays of affection, over-the-top PDA, and inside jokes were the foundation of their relationship, and they seemed very happy together until this past May, when news broke that the pair would be splitting up, claiming that it was a mutual decision. But it was later speculated that the split was due to Jesse getting busy behind Billie's back. Whether the spark just fizzled out or something darker took place, Jesse and Billie will be fine and find new people soon. I mean, just look at these two side by side, they are goth king and queen. His eye tattoo is really staring at me.